Hey, what's going on? This is Tyson McGuffin. Welcome to the McGuffin Show, best podcast in pickleball. Topics that we're going to be chatting about, episode 13 here. Results from PPA Red Rocks. We had some camps in St. George, had a couple camps in Palm Springs, San Antonio. Kyle ran a camp in Spokane, talk about that. Just released our 9-week fundamental series on YouTube, and we will get into our instructional nuggets. So lots of fun stuff on this episode. Mr. McKenzie, my main man, what's going on?
Not much, man. Feeling good. Got my play in this morning with Rafa. Got some drilling in, so ready to crank out this podcast. Let's do it.
How was the drill session with Rafa?
Well, you know, it's funny. We actually got made fun of by some other people that we know when we finished up. They're like, I think you guys talked as much as you played.
Rafa.
I'm not putting it on him. I mean, it's funny, you know, when you haven't seen, you know, a friend in a few weeks, you're catching up and talking about stories from the last tournament and whatnot. But no, we got some drilling in. It was good stuff. Always enjoy playing with him or you know, competing against him in a drill session.
Rafa and all of us bantering. Love that, man. Rafa Hewitt is living right next door, so it's been nice to have him. Been training with him the last week, and he actually had some good results in Delray. Was able to did him and Sarah take fourth?
They took fourth against a nice very good field. They beat some really good teams, so we're definitely catching up about that.
Yeah. Delray looked pretty windy. Pretty sweet, though. They had 3 stadium courts at the Delray, the same venue that they have the Delray Open, the big tennis tournament, and looks like it's a beautiful venue. But they had 3 courts that were all being streamed. First time ever that 3 courts were being streamed. Big shout out to Kyle Salenko, and is it Hotbox Car Productions or
I think it's Boxcar.
Boxcar.
Is it
Hotbox?
I'm pretty sure it's Boxcar Productions. I could be wrong.
Kevin, take that out. Boxcar Productions. So yeah, big shout out to Kyle Salenko. Video production was super crisp. Was very clear. Thought they did a great job. Morgan Evans even jumped on and did some commentary.
They brought in Morgan. They brought in the righty.
Brought in.
No. Honestly, though, it was. I've been at times a little bit critical of the APP, but it seems like every tournament since the first one I went to, it's just been better and better.
No, for sure.
I'm really liking the vision that they're having for their tour going forward. Yeah. Like, I love the streaming multiple courts. Like, I want to see the matchups in the first couple of rounds. You know, not just the medal matches, because it's obviously, you know, it's a lot of the same faces. Right?
Showcase the seniors a little bit as well. You know, show the seniors some love. I was talking to John Sperling yesterday, and those seniors want to get seen.
They're angry.
Okay? They are angry.
Well, they deserve it. It's a high level. I think they need and deserve the exposure as well.
Yeah. But no, I thought the APP definitely threw down, did a great job. Big shout out to Ken Herman as well. But hope we get to play at that venue someday.
It was a tough one to miss. Like, watching from the live stream, it was like, man, definitely one to put on the list if they're doing it again next year.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time that I didn't watch live stream when I wasn't playing the tournament. You know what I mean? Like, if there's a tournament going on, the last time that I wasn't like tuned in on my couch watching that tournament going on, it's been a very long time.
I think that makes people at home feel a little bit better. Right? You're a junkie at heart.
I am a junkie
you just
at heart.
You happen to be really good at this game, but if not, you're a junkie.
Even when I'm not playing, I am at home doing the same old crap.
You're all about it. Love it.
Family stuff, yeah. So anything going on with your fam or?
No, it's just been nice. I mean, obviously we travel a lot, so I've been home for a good solid week, and you know, I have 4 kids, 2 boys, and we've been doing a lot of ping pong at home, which
working that new ping pong table,
which I'll probably on Instagram within the next week or so do a post on it. I don't know if there's a better cross training sport for pickleball if you envision it in the right context. So I feel like I'm helping them get better as, you know, the dad coach, but also working on some things myself, just with that up tempo kind of ping pong style. It's very similar to a fast hand exchange at the kitchen line.
beat up on those boys.
You got to build my confidence up.
Gain your confidence that way.
If I can beat my 6-year-old, I'm feeling good going into a tournament.
Yeah, right. I know Mr. Johns did some high level pickleball or ping pong.
Yeah.
Playing back in the day, and talk about a guy who's kind of done everything, but. He obviously was like a 4 or 5 tennis player, played some high level ping pong.
Yep.
And so
I think there's a lot of carryover. I really do.
I think so as well. I've been home for the last week and a half. Kyle and I were on the road. We were in San Antonio teaching a camp, and then been home the last week and a half. Always fun seeing the fam. Meg is always very appreciative when I'm home because she's managing 2 crazy boys and a precious little 7-month-old girl, and she's 13 weeks pregnant. So Dad should be home as much as possible.
It's funny because I always get the question when people know how much I travel and how much you travel. They're always like, "Man, and that's got to be so crazy. That's got to be so tough on you." But really, I think it's our wives.
It's not
that
us.
have it way tougher. They're cleaning up our mess left and right. They do so much behind the scenes. And
sure.
With me, with 4 kids, with Meg, with all your big blended family. I mean, there's a lot on their plates for sure.
Yeah. No, Meg is. She can run circles around me all day. There's no way I could ever do any of this without her. So all credit goes to her, and all credit goes to females if you're in a situation like that. Because,
well said.
As much as the guy wants to be involved, I'm not gonna lie. The women do a great job organizing the kids, organizing the house, taking care of. I know my wife manages all the admin for my company and stuff like that.
It's a juggling act. You wouldn't be able to do
nonstop. It is nonstop. But been home for the last week and a half. Got some training in. Been seeing the kids and enjoying my time here in Coeur d'Alene. We our power went out last night. It was blowing like 60 miles an hour, and we're on 4 acres outside of town, like a little north of Rathdrum. And we have 5 big trees in the backyard that are all dead. And so anytime there's a windstorm like that, Meg and I are like looking in the window, making sure no trees are going to fall down. But I'm not going to lie, the trees last night were swaying side to side. And we ended up going to dinner because our house obviously didn't have power. So I ended up going to dinner and had a nice little dinner and came home and the power was still out. And then they were able to restore it sometime late last night.
Picturing you guys with a candle.
Yeah, I know we had candles all over. We had flashlights.
Trying to hide in the cellar in case a tree comes down.
But living out on 5 acres, fully surrounded by trees, the power tends to go out a little bit anytime there's a major windstorm. I want to give a big shout out to Pickle Play. Pickle Play is the sponsor this week. I've been sponsored by Pickle Play for the last year and a half. It's a great app. It's a app where you can find level-specific play in your area, whether you're traveling, whether you're playing in your local area. You can go on the app, you can find courts, you can find level-based players, you can chat with them on the app, you can create events, you can set up groups. There's lots of fun stuff on that app. But I would say the app is used the most when you're on the road, you don't know anybody.
Right.
Maybe you're not too familiar with using Facebook or using pickleball forum groups. When you're traveling, you can go on the app, you can find players in that area, you can chat with them, you can find courts. It's all right there. So Alex and Blake Renan have done a great job with that.
Yeah, I think as the sport continues to grow, that's going to be just a bigger and bigger resource for everybody, because you pass through an area, you can obviously show up to courts or find out where there's courts, but if you want to play in a group that's correct for your level and have the best time with it, it's really great having a resource like that for sure.
Yeah, it's true. I think with more tennis players coming over as well, tennis players are a little cliquey and kind of want to play with their own group and stuff like that. So This is a great way to stay out of all the chaos and just to build your own groups and to be able to play with those level-specific groups and get the most out of it. Or if you're playing a tournament and you want some high-level play, obviously it would make sense to get some high-level play and to base your training around playing with people that are of your skill set.
Right. Yeah, very cool.
Anyhow, so big shout out to them. They have 8,700 users, and that membership is growing daily. So big shout out to those guys.
It's a pretty solid number because the Pickleball Forum has 35,000 somewhere in that range. So to have 8,700 for an app, that's not a bad start at all.
Okay, so talking about PPA Red Rock, so crazy weekend. I thought the PPA did a great job. There was some weather conditions that it's the first time I've been a part of that. It actually snowed in St. George. The last time it snowed in St. George was like 10 years ago. So, or at least that's what all the locals said. And so we had this plan to go check out Zion, do some hiking and stuff like that. We were not able to do that. But it was pretty nutty. It snowed and rained most of the time that we were there. Matches got pushed late in the day. The PPA staff, volunteers, tournament staff, and all that did a great job with bringing out the shovels, shoveling courts, drying off those courts.
Talk about being thrown a curveball.
Brutal weekend.
Snow in March in an area that never snows.
I'm not gonna lie. And playing wise, like the ball, I don't know how many Duraballs cracked, but the Duraball is not intended for temperatures that are in the 30s and 40s.
I'm sure you went through plenty of balls.
And so with those type of temperatures, it makes sense tactically to play a bit more offensive. Go for more on your serve. Go for more on the drive. Let more balls go. The ball's flying. The ball is like a rock,
Did you see a lot of teams employ that tactic quite a bit?
There's a
play a little faster.
Decent amount of shake and bake going on. I would say I was really keen on, at least myself, or talking to my partner with letting some stuff go, And I actually feel like, I don't know, I kind of feel like I can shape the ball better when the Duraball's hard.
Okay.
I felt like I guess I can't shape it as well when it's softer, so I kind of feel like I can spin the ball a bit more or just get better shape when it's cold. So with that, I'd like the idea of swinging free on the serve, swinging free on the drive, trying to get lots of spin and kind of use that cold ball. Men's singles, Benny did his thing, ended up winning. I ended up playing Ben in the winner's bracket final, got beat up, not gonna lie, and then ended up playing Deckel in the bronze medal match. It's blowing about 30 miles an hour. Deckel's throwing that tornado serve at me. The thing is just coming in hot.
I've had to play against that one.
It's coming in hot, and it's coming down.
It is.
It's down.
Feels like
it's through you.
Right.
I think total I may have missed like 12 returns. It was not pretty. Ended up losing to Deckel 8-4. Kudos to him. He played great. The guy's a stud. He's done great the last couple tournaments. I would say if there's really anybody who has taken their game to the next notch, I would say he's probably in that.
Yeah, I think he's the most improved. To me, I was very impressed watching in Delray his mixed doubles when he was playing with Corinne. I think it was maybe even a match that he lost, but he's getting so much more aggressive with earning every other ball, it seems like. I saw him Berts and using that length.
I saw him Bert like 3 or 4 times with playing with Corinne. Yeah,
right.
It's a big, long man.
He's adding some extra, aggressive things like that just to go with his solid base. So Deckel, if you're watching, I can see the improvement. I'm sure everybody else can. You're a scary man.
and it's not Deckel. It's
is it Deckel? They were pronouncing it Deckel. I've been saying
Lauren.
Deckel forever.
Lauren made a note of that during the commentary of the Delray tournament. It is it's not Deckel. It's
I feel so sophisticated saying it. Deckel. Deckel bar. I believe that's right.
I call him triple deck. Triple deck, baby. Bring the heat.
Triple decker.
Bring the heat. Anyhow, guy's a stud. He also played very well in men's. Ben and Deckel. I think this is the first time I've ever seen something like this happen. Ben and Deckel double bageled Warnick and Wright. Granted, Wright I don't think saw a ball. I'm pretty sure Jeff saw every ball. And the sad thing is that freaking Callan and I, after they just lost 0-0, we play Jeff and Matt in the bronze medal match, win the first game, rolled in the first game, hit every ball to Jeff, not going to lie, rolling in the second game. It's somewhat tight. It was like 6-4 in the second game. Yep. Hit every ball to Jeff, same thing, kind of keeping Matt out of it, safest bet. And
Jeff just eventually found it.
Jeff eventually found it, started beating his head-to-head a little bit, started to find some offense, and started to project the way that he usually does. I'm not gonna lie. Once he gets talking or once he gets projecting like that, it's tough to.
The game elevates.
Usually his game elevates.
It goes hand in hand with the mouth.
I snap a paddle and my game elevates. He likes to bark and his level gets better.
We all have our quirks, right?
But kudos to that team. They ended up beating us in 3. And then they had a much better showing against Ben and Deckel in the finals. They ended
Yeah.
up, I don't know, losing like 6-4, 8-4, something
Yeah,
like that.
0-0 is a fluke result for sure, especially against the team that gets the silver.
I know, right?
You don't see that very often.
But a lot of good teams in men's. We ended up actually losing to Dano De La Rosa, who probably has the liveliest arm in pickleball and by far has the biggest overhead in pickleball.
Yeah.
And what's Pace's first name?
Pesa Tioni.
Pesa
I think
Tioni,
Pesa
sorry.
is his
Pesa
first name.
Tioni.
Also has some big clubby hands.
Sexy game for sure.
Yeah.
And lefty,
Yep,
you know, likes to create with his loop.
And they played pretty fast, right? They were playing pretty shake and bake a bit. Or?
Yeah, for sure. Looks like Pesa likes to drive, and then Daniel can kind of come swooping in with that clubby volley. And Daniel plays the left. Pesa plays the right. Pesa's lefty. Plays the right pretty well.
And for those who don't know, Daniel De La Rosa, I could be wrong on this. I know he has been ranked very highly in the world in racquetball.
He's like top 5 in the world.
I believe he
yeah.
still is.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a racquetball stud converted over to pickleball.
Yeah, no, for sure. We ended up losing to those guys in 3. Had to battle our way back through. Beat Lung and Yates.
It's a good win.
Yeah, Lung and Yates. Who else did we beat in the freaking backdraw? Lung and Yates, and then we ended up playing John's, Colin and Adam. That was the 4th place match. Won that, and then played Matt and Jeff. But it was a nice little day. Haven't played with Callan Dawson for a while. The last time Callan and I played together was 2016 Nationals, and that was my first year playing Nationals. That was my first year playing ever. And I had no idea what I was doing in doubles on that particular day or just in that first year of playing. And so it's kind of funny. I remember I played the right. I played like a little sliver. And Callan had been playing for a couple of years.
Sure.
Callan took silver at Nationals like the previous year with his dad. So he was just kind of banking on me to play halfway.
Put balls in play.
Just put balls in play and do your job. And so anyhow, I remember, on that given day, I had no offense. All I could do was dink. And I would like only dink up the line, but I was playing like 20% of the court. That was the last time we ended up playing together. And we ended up actually losing the 4th place match to get into the bronze medal and lost to Oliver Stryker and Matt Wright. That was 2016.
Okay. Pretty good showing. For
nice little showing. Yeah. We had
being a singles guy at the time, right?
But it was kind of funny. And Callan was like, he was coaching me all day, and he was like the tactician, and I really didn't know a lot about doubles. And we were able to kind of grind it out and gut some matches out. But that was
totally different dynamic this time around, right?
Yeah, you know what?
Because I would say, Callan's the classic counter puncher, right?
Right.
He can speed up, but wants you to come at him more often than you probably had to, as a team, rely on you a little bit more for the offense, I would guess.
Offense,
you had to speed up a little bit more.
Callan's got a very unique game.
He does.
If you don't mind telling the viewers about Callan's game and just how like efficient everything he does is.
So Callan just beats you, to me, with court positioning more than anything. He stays on the line. Yeah. He simplifies his dinking motion. He usually takes it either as a volley dink out of the air or a half volley. So he gives you a relatively small target. He's able to negate any top spin, any back spin.
3 fingers
chokes up, which gives you a little bit more feel. You sacrifice reach, you sacrifice power, but if you can be very consistent and counterpunch well with fast hands, which he has, it's tough to find a recipe to beat that. You either have to out dink them by dinking more aggressive and eventually speeding up, or moving them around, which requires a lot of balls being put in play, which it's tough to do, and that's why you see him make deep runs in tournaments and win quite often.
Yeah, he does. Does a lot of things very well. It's kind of funny. He like holds. I think he has 3 fingers.
Does he have 3
He's
up
got
there?
3 fingers up. He's in like his 3-point stance. Takes everything out of the air. Takes it as a half volley. And I'm not gonna lie. This dink out of the air looks identical to his lob or his little speed up.
Yeah.
So
I forgot about the lob. Yeah, that's this.
The guy
variety,
is.
Right?
I mean, he will make your shorts fall down to your ankles very quickly because that lob gets on you in a hurry, and it looks just like the dink. It looks just like the speed up. It all looks very similar.
Probably lobs more often than any other pro. I would say that's not senior pro, because you don't see a lot of lobbing in the pro level.
That's probably his best source of offense.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, his counter's great, but it comes off of an.
He trusts it too, because we were playing, was it WPC or one of the tournaments in Florida recently, and it was windy, and he was playing with Simone, and he kept throwing the lob up, missed a couple, and he stuck right with it and found it, and then the level got better throughout the day. So nerves of steel with the lob.
Yeah, and super cool dude. He runs the Pro Connects department.
Does he?
And,
okay.
Yeah, sells paddles and stuff like that, and obviously Steve Dawson, his dad, Jennifer Dawson, really good tennis players. Kind of a cool story about them. They actually met at University of Oklahoma back in the day. Steve played number 1, Jennifer played number 1. They ended up one thing led to another, and but yeah, Jen still plays on like the women's 50 plus. I don't know if it's Fed Cup team but just a really high end women's age tennis team, and she still plays on that team. Steve owns Bobby Riggs Tennis Club and Museum in Encinitas, California. Oh, nice. Pretty sweet. It's a beautiful club. It's a
pretty dang athletic family.
That's right, a very, very athletic family. And a very good-looking family, I'm not going to lie. And Callan's brother, Tyler Dawson, is in med school, also plays pro pickleball. Yeah. I mean, it's a crazy athletic family. Okay, so let's move on to mixed.
Okay.
Mixed, we had Simone and Ben doing their thing. Jesse and Jeff had a nice little showing. Ended up beating Lucy and Matt in that bronze medal match.
It's a good win for them. They're always pretty consistent, but I think that Matt-Lucy matchup has normally gone the other way.
For sure. And I'm not going to lie, I don't think Jesse and Jeff have been on the podium this year at all in mix. So it was their first time back on the podium. Yep. Excuse me. Got a nice little burp in there.
It was for good measure.
Yeah. It was their first time back on the podium. Actually, since Vegas of last year, the year-end Vegas tournament, they ended up taking silver, and I'm 99% sure that was the last time they ended up on the podium as a mixed team.
That's pretty surprising, actually.
Yeah.
But it seems like they're in the conversation every time. So it's just a matter of time.
So Jeff gained a little confidence over that tournament. Took silver in men's, took silver in mixed. So. Good for him. And then let's see what else went on in St. George. Women's, Simone and Lucy did their thing as always. They played Lauren and Leia, our girl, and Leia and Lauren ended up losing in 3, but made it respectable.
Yeah, I think they're there. They're one of those sleeper teams on the women's side. I expect to see them more on the podium, throughout the year if they're playing more events together.
Yeah, for sure. But not gonna lie, a reoccurring thing. Simone, in 3-game matches, finding a way to pull it out. Ben is in the same boat.
It's impressive because there's more and more depth all the time.
For sure.
People are hungry to try to take them off the mantle, off the podium. So. Speaks to their credit. They're obviously improving their own games in order to stay at the top.
They're not stagnant.
The level's getting better all the time, even at the top.
For sure. Okay, so let's move on here. So we had some camps. Had a camp in St. George on that Monday, Tuesday after the PPA tournament. Keep in mind, if you guys are interested in taking a Tyson McGuffin camp, whether it's led by myself or it's led by this man over here, you can go to TysonMcGuffin.com and take a look at the whole camp schedule. And we have partnered in with PPA, so we have some camps after PPA events. The next PPA camp that we're going to have is going to be after the Atlanta tournament. That's going to be May 25th and May 26th. And the Atlanta tournament, great venue. I believe you were there last year.
Maybe. I have not played Atlanta yet. I'm playing this one though.
So I think it's a Lifetime Fitness. Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Just got hooked up with the Unicorn. Shelton, we're going to play that one. So it'll be our first tournament together.
Forehand type of day.
I better learn to play the right.
Yeah.
We better switch this up real quick. Right.
Ran a camp in St. George on the Monday, Tuesday. I actually had to play singles on that Monday because just with snow and rain and all the weather conditions, the tournament got pushed back a day. And with it getting pushed back a day, I'm not going to lie, I was supposed to play mixed with Callie Smith. Love Callie Smith, but due to her religion, she is unable to play on Sundays. So fully respect that.
Yep.
So Kyle had to lead for me on Monday. Did a great job. We had 12 campers on that Monday, Tuesday. Not gonna lie, on that Monday morning, we were supposed to go indoors. We had this indoor venue set up. We were supposed to tape lines. There was gonna be somebody meeting us there to tape lines. Well, we ended up showing up to the venue very early. It was like 6 a.m. Both Kyle and I showed up, and there was nobody there with the tape, and there's basketball players playing on our freaking court. So Plan B was able to find a beautiful venue.
It was.
Sick venue.
We lucked out.
Up on a hilltop.
For a last minute, we had like private courts. It was gorgeous.
But found a venue, so they were able to teach there on that Monday. It was a little windy. Talk about the wind in the afternoon and trying to showcase the block volley. So the first day of the camp is building a soft game. So in the afternoon, after lunch, it got very windy up on that hilltop.
Yeah, so I think we always want to test campers a little bit with some higher skill sets that they may not be ready to master in 30 minutes, but at least get close enough to understand the shot. So the block volley is one of those, but with the wind, with people speeding up, it was very, very difficult to have that precision and to find some success with that. I'm pretty sure I whiffed an overhead, giving an overhead demonstration too. Yeah, so that was a real highlight for me. Yeah. But it definitely wasn't ideal.
Wind is never fun when you're trying to teach.
Yeah. No.
And I think this is a fun little tip for coaches out there that are watching, just for added cooperativeness as you're doing camps. Something that we do, something that makes a lot of sense, is to always have people feed off the bounce. I know that's kind of elementary, but why the bounce serve went to that is because you have more time. It's easier to keep the hand positioning still. It's easier just to do less when you have some more time, right?
Yeah, like you said, anytime you're doing something cooperative, the feed needs to be decent, so much easier if it's off the bounce.
Yeah, and so much of camps is the teacher-student setting in that drills portion, and I'm not going to lie, if the teacher is not being cooperative with the feed, or if the teacher is being competitive with the feed, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. And you paid money to come to a camp, and your teacher is not feeding you a ball that you can work with, and it's not fun.
You're not getting much out of it. Yeah,
no. It's not fun at all. But camp went great though. Second day we ended up going indoors, back to that indoor place, and somebody met us there with the tape. Got the courts taped. That was the first time in a while that I've taped courts. This man over here, my man, showed up nice and early with me. Taped the courts.
Hey, going that extra mile.
Taped the courts. Set up some temp nets. Actually, set up some Swift nets. That was the first time that I've ever set up a Swift net. Shout out to Glenn Peterson. Glenn Peterson is the engineer behind that Swift net. Not gonna lie, it was kind of a pain in the ass to set up, but once we got it set up, it was I don't know, much more sturdy than just a regular temp net.
I think it's the best portable temp net out there. You get a true net that not everything just falls over. It's it's true measurements. It's a well-made net for sure.
Yeah. And then Kyle came to Spokane, taught a 2-day camp.
Yep. Yeah. So it was it was nice to be able to lead about 5-6 minutes away from my home. It was the very next day, so it was definitely a lot back to back. But I believe we had 9 campers. My father-in-law came and took the camp. It was my first time teaching him, and he's been into pickleball for a while. So it went really well. Charge him double. Yeah, charge him double. Add the tax in there. Yeah. No, it went really well. We had it was a combined lesson plan. So we had half the group higher level, half the group 3.0 to 3.5. So it was a unique and fun challenge for me, but it went really well, and I think everybody got a lot out of it.
Heck yeah. If you guys want to check out camps that Kyle's going to be leading, make sure to go to my website. He does a very good job leading those camps. The next camp that he's going to be leading is, when is that?
Orlando.
Orlando.
Yes, that's the next trip for me. I'm pretty excited. I'm taking the family to Disney World for a few days right before and right after my camp. So I'm doing 2 camps. I believe it's the 6th, 7th, and then the 8th and the 9th right there in Orlando.
Did you guys get those family shirts made?
We all have. We didn't have them specially made the same one, but we all got ordered a special kind of Disney shirt. Like my son has a Star Wars themed one. I can't remember what my theme is, but it's supposed to show up in the next couple of days.
Yeah, fun.
We'll do the whole photos and I mean it's expensive, so we're looking at this like this might be the only time we do the Disney World thing as a family. So make the most out of it.
That's cool. Yeah, we're heading to Newport this weekend, and it's taking Ty's.
Oh, very cool. Yeah,
spring break is next week, but it's in California. Nothing's open, so it sucks.
Other than play, do you have anything that you're planning on doing with him?
I mean, we're in Orange County. I mean, Orange County's more open than anywhere else in California. But I mean, last time we took Ty for spring break, we went to Disneyland, did all that, went down to San Diego, went to the zoo, and all that fun stuff. But I think we're just gonna go to the beach, get some surfing in. I
was gonna say if the weather's good, you always have the beach.
Yeah.
Kids love the beach.
I'm gonna get my ass kicked doing some surfing again and try to show my son how to surf, even though I have no idea. Probably gonna be more so just building sandcastles and boogie boarding.
Heck yeah.
I don't know if I'm ready to go back surfing. I don't know if I'm ready.
I tried it once.
Scared the hell out of me.
I didn't last very long.
My gosh,
looks way
it looks
easier.
So easy.
Looks way easier.
God, it looks so easy, and I feel like I have no time out there, but I have plenty of time. More time than
more time than you think.
More
Tyson.
time than you think.
Listen to your own advice.
Yeah, I'm sure nobody who's taken a lesson has ever heard that. Ever. So as he was in Spokane, I went to Palm Springs after St. George, ran a very successful 2-day camp with Chris Mills. the legend, or we call him 89 Ball, because he's been playing pickleball since 1989. Chris Miller used to, I'm gonna say this. Chris Miller used to play 20 plus tournaments a year in the 90s with no prize money. 20 plus tournaments a year with no prize money, and he was a substitute PE teacher. I have no idea.
That's dedication.
That
right
is
there.
pure
That is
dedication. How the man was able to survive off of that, I have no idea.
Huh? He probably doesn't know either.
89 Ball. So yeah, taught with Chris and Cammie. We had 24 campers, had a great time. The weather was beautiful. The person I was staying with in Palm Springs, I'm not gonna lie, this is the first time that I've done this for a while, but I usually don't stay with host families because we, bring the family and stuff like that, and it's just easier that the baby is not crying in somebody's living room or somebody's bedroom. And I usually, we usually, get a place to stay, get a car and all that. But last minute planning for Palm Springs, had to stay with the host family, and then I was looking at rental cars, and like the rental cars were like $200 a day. So I'm like, shoot, I could stay at the Marriott for $200 a day. So I'm not gonna lie, I snooped down to this level, asked the person I'm staying with if they had a car or two. Oh yeah. Need a place to stay. Need a car. And I'm not gonna lie, he had two beautiful Teslas, Model X Teslas, and he gave me one, so I freaking whipped that thing around.
What'd you think? Was your first time?
Slow.
Yeah, so slow.
That thing is so stupidly fast. So there's like a little compartment like underneath the flat screen. And when I hit the gas the first time, like the whole compartment just came shooting out, came like flying out. Anyhow, the car was great. Was able to use that over the weekend, but we had two day camps in Palm Springs. Finished the last 2-day camp on that Sunday. Had a race to the airport. Flew to San Antonio that night. Got to the hotel at like 1 a.m. This guy was sleeping as I got to the hotel. And then we ended up teaching a 2-day camp at the San Antonio Chicken and Pickle. Sweet location, great campers.
Loved it. Yeah, first time at Chicken and Pickle, and I guess there's 4 of them, but yeah, I was pretty blown away. Great for the growth of the sport. If you're in the Midwest area at all, they're popping up with new locations all the time. Definitely worth the trip out there. Yeah,
great food, great service, lots of fun stuff to do outside the location in San Antonio. Outside had bocce ball, ping pong, cornhole, but I would say like the main showcase of the whole venue is food and beverage. Yeah. They had 6 indoor courts where we were able to teach indoors. Always great teaching indoors. And I'm not gonna lie, when you have a row of courts to teach on, and you have 24 campers, it's much easier to manage and roam.
It is.
Just walking in one line, as courts are all kind of lined up versus
you can see more courts at the same time, make sure that everything's going correctly, that the drills are happening.
It's true.
It makes the camp go a little bit smoother.
Yeah. But had a great time there. The next Chicken and Pickle camp we're gonna do is right after U.S. Open. And I'm going to look up the dates right now.
Kansas City, right?
Kansas City.
All right.
Kansas City.
Patrick Mahomes. We have spots open.
April 26th and 26th. April 26th and 27th. Patrick, I want to see you there, man. I want to see you there, brother.
I have heard that some members of the Kansas City Chiefs have been known to make an appearance at Chicken and Pickle, hang out, hit the ball around a little bit.
Okay, so again, if you guys want to sign up for a camp, go to my website, TysonMcGuffin.com. We have lots of camps coming up, and we have 2 camps coming up in Coeur d'Alene this summer. June 4th through the 6th is the first one. That's a 3-day camp, 4 hours each day, 8 to noon. And then after the Coeur d'Alene tournament, July 12th and 13th, we're running a 2-day camp right after the tournament. So you guys can check out Coeur d'Alene, play the tournament, and then do that 2-day camp on the Monday, Tuesday after. And then the first night of the camp, we do dinner at my house, have a little barbecue, hang out, all good. All good. March Madness, go Zags, baby. Zags got a W yesterday. Gonzaga, obviously, is very close to us, and always been a Zag fan. Actually, Mark Few plays pickleball. Yeah. I had the opportunity to work with him last summer, and I was super busy and I couldn't do it. Anyhow, super cool dude, and he plays a little pickleball and has a place in Hayden, Idaho. Is known to play at the Hayden Lake Country Club a little bit. But anyhow, we're gonna do some stuff with Mark this summer and beat that man up.
Love it. Well, I'm hoping this is the Zags year. I was a Zag fan before I even moved to Spokane. It's been crazy this year and last year. They were an amazing team before COVID. hoping that this is the year. So I think they play
it's tough to
USC on, I think it's tomorrow.
How many Pac-12 teams are in the Elite Eight?
That's where I'm a little concerned. I'm confident for Gonzaga, but it seems like the Pac-12 was really underrated this year. They're winning just about every game they have. I mean, USC had to play Oregon, so one of those teams was going to advance. USC got the better of them. But UCLA, who was a 11 seed, they just beat a 2 seed. I can't remember if it was Alabama.
Did you see?
Alabama.
So Oregon State was last in the Pac-12, and they won the conference tournament.
They're still in.
They're in the Elite Eight.
They're in the Elite Eight.
UCLA's
in the Elite Eight, I believe, and then
it's pretty cool.
And then now USC as well.
That's why you love the tournament. It's just magic. You never know.
You never know.
You never know. Anything can happen. It's like a gain of 15. Gain of 15, or it's a gain of 15 in a pool play event at WPC. Anything can happen, baby. It's dicey. So anyhow, the Zags are playing not today, but is it tomorrow?
I think it's tomorrow. I'm pretty sure tomorrow.
Yeah. So go Zags. I'll be watching that.
Yep, me too.
UFC 260. Watched it this last Saturday. Stipe Miocic face off against Francis Ngannou. And Francis Ngannou is probably the largest man and the baddest man I've ever seen.
He was the challenger.
He was the challenger,
right.
number one seed.
Favorite,
he actually had the Vegas
favorite.
odds. He was the favorite. And I'm not going to lie, for that fight, I won $500.
Oh, look out.
Nobody bet on Francis. Makes no sense. Like, taking a look at that fight, Francis looks so much bigger. He's like 30 pounds heavier.
Right.
Anyhow, Stipe, all credit to him. The guy's done everything. He's got, he has all the records in the heavyweight division, but his time is gone. And I'm not gonna lie, it was just a beatdown. It was scary to watch. I mean, any fight that Francis is like in, I mean, it's scary to watch.
He's just a specimen. You showed me the highlight reel. Ooh.
Yeah, scary. But lots of good fights. Sugar Show O'Malley. He's actually a guy from Helena, Montana. It's kind of funny. My good buddy from Montana, from Helena as well. He was in my wedding. I played college tennis with him. He went to high school with Sean O'Malley. Kind of crazy, but. Sean O'Malley, he's actually got a podcast. It's called The Sugar Show. It's a little wild, but if you want to check that out, you can. He ended up winning. Always fun to watch that guy. And but yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it was a very good card. It's probably like the best card that I've watched in a very long time. And but yeah, Francis is the new belt holder, and now there is 3 Africans, all with belts. Kamaru Usman, Stylebender, and then Francis. So pretty cool.
Jeez. Yeah.
But
impressive.
Yeah. Some real tough stuff. Okay, so some tips for coaches out there that are teaching group lessons or teaching big camps, or I guess maybe having a hard time understanding how to manage big camps. Something that we do that I think makes a lot of sense. Talking about the feed, obviously feeding off the bounce is necessary. And make sure that anytime you're feeding, it's more kind of in a lifting motion. You're not trying to push the feed. It's more of a lift. You're giving some height on the feed. And then also too, anytime that we drill, it's teacher-student type drilling. Teacher is going to be feeding off the bounce. Student is going to be working on the drill. Even though you are a teacher, doesn't mean that you're not getting a benefit. So let's say, for example, that the teacher feeds a return from the kitchen line, and the student's back at the baseline. Well, great. This is going to be a third shot drop drill, and the person at the baseline is going to be hitting drops, and the teacher at the kitchen is going to be working on their 4th and their 6th and their 8th, or they're going to be working on finding their best source of offense off of that drop. So anytime we're drilling, it's teacher-student. Even though teacher is being cooperative with the feed, they are still getting a benefit out of it. And then also too, I like the idea of as you're roaming, doing a north side and a south side. North side is always acting as a teacher. South side is always acting as a student. That way, when you roam, you can roam on one side of the court, and you know what the teacher's doing. You can keep the theme all the way down, even on like 6 or 8 courts, with the teachers all doing the same stuff. And then you walk on the student side, walk all the way down, focus on the same thing. But I think just to organize things, just to roam better, or to maybe be more theme-based with your teaching. It makes sense to stay on one side as they're drilling, just so you can focus on the mindset from the teacher side versus roaming on the student side and focusing on the mindset on the student side.
Yeah, it's a totally different dynamic, different skill set, teaching private lessons and teaching bigger groups and camps. So the way I look at it, I think private lessons to me, even though I still come in with a game plan, to me it's more of an art, because you're going to need to at times pivot, spend a little bit more time with your student on some things, and maybe breeze over something that they've already got mastered, or they're ready for the next thing. But with teaching camps, it's way more of a science. You have to be much more prepared when you show up. You have to be a little bit more thorough with all of the group discussions. But then as you're going around, you have to restrict spending too much time with just one person, because you do have to remember you're trying to make sure that you touch on everybody a little bit. So be more thorough in the discussions. But when you're going around, just saying a little bit to people goes a long way to let them know that you're paying attention. But again, you just don't have the time to dive in that full private lesson temperament as you're making your rounds.
Yeah. And too, I think when I'm like giving little notes, I always like to like label it by saying, hey, a little technique nugget, or like a little tactical nugget, or a little core positioning nugget. But that way they know what you're talking about right away. Yeah. They're being filled with information throughout the whole camp. And so when you can label the little nugget that you give them, whether it's a technique nugget or a tactical nugget or whatever, I think it just helps them understand a little better. Something I always like to do too is even the camper or the individual that tends to push back a little bit, that maybe doesn't like to be criticized, or doesn't want attention. I think really deep down, I think they do. So you kind of have to push back and like make them like respect you to a certain degree. So I think if you're having a hard time, or if you're like, I guess, not driving it home well enough, and they're just, I guess, being on the fence about it, don't be afraid to take the approach of giving them more information and like staying on them, because really, even though they're pushing back, I think deep down they actually they actually like the attention, and they're just kind of being difficult in that sense. So it's kind of funny. Like I always feel like if there's somebody that like I don't get along with on day one, by the end of day two, we're like best friends. Yep. Why? Yep. Because I made sure to keep coming back and keep giving it to them, because deep down they like it.
Well, I think if you're new to teaching camps, but you've been teaching private lessons, it's important to remember that yes, you want to be a nice person, but you're the authority out there. So even if there's some difficult people early on, just like Tyson said, to me, in my experience, they're usually just testing you, making sure that you're competent, making sure that you're on it. And if you can show them that you are, they're going to be your best friends by the time it's all over. So remember that you are the boss out there, and just teach with confidence.
And I would say I've probably built some of my better like relationships on the court with that individual that tends to push back a little bit, and I think something that you should always, as you're showcasing the skills portion, make sure that everybody's kind of wrapped around you, and that you're able to demo and showcase that. But as you're demoing, we always like to break it up, talk about technique, or like I kind of like to talk about like from like the ground floor up. Yep. So talk about my legs first, or like my athletic stance first, and then talk about my upper extremities, and then from there go into technique, go into core positioning, go into tactics. But make sure that you try to fill them with the whole pie in that skills portion, and then obviously show a very educated demo with the drills. When you drill, we always show anywhere from 2 to 3 progressions. The first progression is very stationary. It's more technique oriented. The second progression, we add a little movement in. And then maybe the third progression is a bit more live play. Yep. But I think showcasing the drills in a way where older people can understand them, 40 and below can understand them, and showing different ways to move for older demographic plays a big part too. I mean, I would say most of our demographic that takes camps is probably 60 plus. So if I can't showcase in my demo as I'm drilling how to move like a how to move like a 60-year-old, it's probably not going to be beneficial to them. So I think taking your foot off the gas a little bit and dumbing it down, obviously it's a bit more level specific, but showcasing different ways to move, or showcasing different ways to modify based on that person's age goes a long ways. I've been like, I like using Cammy during demos. I like using John Sperling during demos. Why? Because they're a little older. They move a little different. They can showcase a little differently. So I think you have to kind of cater to who's in front of you.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's important, like I said, for teachers that are just getting into camps, it's okay to be a little bit more long-winded in the demo and to be a little bit more of a talker there, because again, when you're teaching to a large group, there's multiple learning styles. I know I have ADD. I'm a much better thinker than I am a learner. So if someone can really connect with me and my learning style, that's what has that, gives me that light bulb moment. So I think being a little bit more thorough when you're talking to the whole group, but then as you're making your little touches individually, try to keep those a little bit more concise.
Yeah, I like that. So there's some notes there, some tips as you're teaching camps or group lessons. But just like what Kyle said, I think it's a skill within itself. And teaching a private lesson is one thing, but teaching a camp with 32 people and trying to manage different personalities,
some other variables,
and you have Sally who doesn't want to drill with Larry, and they're not getting along, and so it's more of a skill set of managing people.
It is.
And like reading people and just keeping everybody happy with trying to keep the IQ of pickleball high in that sense, but not always easy.
No.
So YouTube stuff, we just posted our first week of the fundamental series. We posted 3 videos this last week, all pertaining to lift dinks. Hope you guys enjoyed those. We had plenty of views and lots of comments off of those videos. Know that I always comment back. If you guys have a question about the video or about anything pertaining to pickleball, I will gladly answer that question. So if you guys want to add any insight, feel free. This coming week, we're going to be posting push slice dinks, like what I said in episode 12. For the first 5 weeks, it's going to be instructional videos all about building a soft game, and then weeks 6 through 9 is going to be instructional videos about building weapons. So this week we're going to be posting about the push slice dink. Make sure to tune in and check those out. The following week we're going to post push top spin dinks, and a push dink is a dink that has a bit more purpose to it, has a bit more intent. DJ Howard calls it a stinger. This last week obviously introduced the lift dink, which is more of like the neutralizer. It's more of like the reset dink. Hope you guys enjoyed those graphics by my man Kevin, who I'm looking at right now. does a great job with that stuff. Obviously this week is going to be the slice offensive dink. Next week is going to be the top spin offensive dink. Hope you guys get plenty.
One thing with that, Tyson, what I always tell campers, because we have a similar structure when we're doing the camp, but the material builds upon itself. So there's a reason that Tyson started with the lift dink. It's probably the most elementary, kind of basic, high percentage shot. The push dink is a little bit more aggressive. You take a little bit more risk. And as he releases more and more, if you can start with that lift dink and then just stay following all the way through, like I said, the program builds upon itself. So once you've mastered one skill set, then you're ready to test yourself with the next one and the next one and the next one after that. And I mean, that's how we got better. It started with, we had certain weapons maybe right at the beginning, but we tried to build and fill in the gaps around what we already did well.
Yeah. Something you can do too, if you were looking at the 2.5 and 3.0 video and you felt like you mastered the drills in the game, you could gladly move on to the 3.5 drills and games and see if you can master those. If you've mastered those, you can work your way up. So know that those videos are just a progression, and you can totally use any material in those. A couple other people that you should be following on YouTube that does a great job with their stuff. Jordan Briones, I believe he has around 50,000 subscribers. He's been on YouTube for at least 4 or 5 years now.
Prime time pickleball.
Prime time pickleball. I would say he's probably the reigning champ on YouTube right now when it comes to content. The guy's been doing it forever. It does a very good job. Simone Jardim, I believe she has 10,000 subscribers, also does a great job. She's got a bunch of fun little at-home instructional videos that she posted over quarantine about how to get the most out of, I guess, being cooped up, whether it's ball machine stuff or hitting against a wall or just finding some fun drills that you could do from your home. It's
a good idea.
Yeah. And she also has some instructional videos where she gives somebody a lesson. The person kind of talks about what they want to work on for the lesson, and then she kind of showcases like a little 10-minute private and makes a video out of it. So I think, any sort of creative instructional video like that is great, whether it's at-home stuff or it's, it's a private lesson, it's a bit more intimate, or, maybe it's a fundamental series, or, there's so much fun stuff you can do.
Well, what's Simone not good at? This doesn't seem fair. What the heck?
I know.
Save some for the rest of us.
She does a lot of things well. She does a lot of things well. We have some programming in North Idaho that Kyle McKenzie is going to be leading. We talked about this in episode 12. Local people from Spokane, Post Falls, North Idaho, you can go on your local pickleball group page, whether that's the Playground Forum, that's the Post Falls Pickleball Forum on Facebook, that's the Inland Northwest Pickleball Club Forum for North Idaho, or I believe there is one more called the Warehouse. All those forums locally will have flyers for programming at the hub. They'll have flyers for programming at the playground, and then soon they will have flyers for programming at Cherry Hill this summer. So if you guys are interested in any of that program, any of the programming stuff, Kyle's going to be leading that, and he will be leading that at the playground, at the hub, and then this summer at Cherry Hill. So check some of that stuff
I'm
out.
bouncing around. I'm coming to you all over.
I think if there's people that are maybe taking lessons at Peak, or people that are taking lessons at North Park, or just people locally that want to dive into high-end instruction, make sure to check out those pickleball groups, and you can find the flyers on there. And then obviously if you're looking to sign up, you can simply just email Kyle at kyle@tysonmcguffin.com.
Yeah, I think if you're in the area and you're newer to pickleball, and you're falling in love with it, it's probably going to be something that you do for several years. So probably wouldn't be a bad idea just to get some structure at the beginning, just to make sure you're on the right track and you don't develop too many bad habits. We all have to change things as we get better, but we don't want to get fully immersed in some things that are really going to hold us back. So if you've never had a lesson before, or you're new to the sport, definitely check some of these things out.
On another note, talking about stuff locally, we have a camp, a TM signature camp, June 4th to the 6th, and then July 12th and 13th. So make sure to check out those camps locally. Mr. McKenzie, give us your instructional nugget. Could be technique oriented, could be anything you want.
Yeah. So I think for this week, my coach's tip or instructional nugget is going to be more advice. I think, if you've been in pickleball a while, you realize it's challenging. We all love to play with that level that's our level, or maybe even ideally, if we're trying to get better, just slightly better than us. But with where we live, it's very difficult to find that perfect group all the time. So I think a lot of us are forced to, just by necessity, to play with a level that's maybe just a touch lower than where we're at. So for me, when I was doing that pretty consistently, I found myself getting a little bit bored, a little bit lazy, and I didn't like that because I still wanted to, to train to be able to play these pro events. So one thing that I started doing when I play with a level that's just one notch down for me is I pick one thing. I pick one shot that I want to work on. Other than that, I'm competitive and I'm still trying to win, but I'll force myself to play that shot as often as possible and to challenge myself with doing it even though it's uncomfortable. And what that does is it keeps me in the right competitive mindset. I'm still moving my body. I'm not developing any lazy habits, but I'm testing that new shot in a competitive setting where I'm feeling some pressure. And you have to be willing, if you're going to take this approach, to lose sometimes to some people that you don't normally lose to. But to me, I think it's a really good roadmap for getting better.
I think it's a great roadmap for taking a camp too.
Yeah, agreed.
Don't come to the camp and beat the camp.
Don't beat the
because the
camp.
coaches don't care. We don't care.
For sure.
Okay. I love that idea. Coming to a camp or playing in rec and playing with people that you can obviously pick on, or being in a camp and we have bump up and bump down going on, and you're on court 3, but you want to get to court 1. Make sure you're not picking on Sally in a camp that you paid $5.99 for just to show Coach Kyle that you can end up on court 1.
Exactly.
Make sure that you're working on the correct things. Maybe you're working on like the original skill from the segment. Now you're in a live situational game, but definitely get the most out of that. Push your pride aside in that rec play setting, or push your pride aside in that camp setting.
Well, notice how I
Easier
said
than done.
work on one thing, right? You might have a list of 5 or 6 things. Don't work on all of them at the same time. It will be very discouraging. Pick one, do everything else the normal way that you do, get that one dialed in, and then you can move on to the next skill.
What's your ratio to drill and gameplay after a camp? I know you always
I think if your goal is to improve as fast as you can, I think for every one time you do rec, I think you should have 2 different drilling sessions. I think if you only drill, that's not ideal either, because you need to practice being able to work a point in a game setting and be able to play with some pressure. But I think at least 2 or even 3 drilling sessions for every one rec play session is the best roadmap that I know of to improving quickly.
I like that.
So what do you think, Tyson? What's your coaching wisdom for us?
Yep.
This week?
I'm going to come up with it right now. I think taking a look at cues on when you should come in off your drop or cues when you should come in off your drive. I think first progression, lower levels, we want to look to see where the returner makes contact. If they're making contact in the red zone, there should be a big ol' imaginary sign behind them that says, get your booty in. If they're making contact in their yellow zone, maybe they don't have any offense. Maybe they just tend to punch the volley in yellow. They don't have a roll volley or they don't have any ways to kind of hurt you in yellow. That would probably make sense that you can gain some real estate and look to make some adjustments and come up. Obviously, if they're up in green, you should stay back. You are better off playing smart than you are being brave. So first progression is looking to see where the returner makes contact. Second progression, if you're comfortable with that, second progression would be looking at your ball trajectory. Take a look at some of the best disconnectors in the game. Take a look at some of the best poachers in the game. They're not looking to see where the returner makes contact. They are looking at ball trajectory and they're freaking taking off.
Right.
So if you want to be efficient in the transition zone, if you want to be a baker off of your partner shaken, or if you want to be aggressive off of your partner's drop and you're looking to poach, it would make sense that you look at ball trajectory. You can gain real estate a little quicker. Mm-hmm. You can look to be more aggressive by looking at ball trajectory and going sooner.
Making that prediction a little bit earlier, I think is really needed for higher level. But just to piggyback on that, I will say there's one thing, like you mentioned, visual cues, that's kind of between, being able to see it right away and waiting to see where they make contact. If you see your opponents dip their shoulder, if they dip their shoulder at all, they're likely hitting the ball from lower than the net. And it's okay to still come in even if the ball does not bounce in the kitchen. I think that's a big thing for people. You're not necessarily looking for it to bounce. You're looking for anything visually on their body dipping down. At that point, that you can gain some space forward.
I think tendencies with the drop is obviously going too early. I would say lower levels, it's going too early, not looking at ball trajectory, thinking, hey, I'm just going to hit a drop and take off. It's not respecting the returner's fourth ball. You're probably moving through your fifth after they've hit their fourth. I would say tendencies with higher level is probably just not breaking down in the transition zone, not being very athletic in the transition zone, not trusting that area, just not breaking down soon enough. I would say like when I start missing balls in transition is generally when I'm either trying to rush or maybe when I'm looking to see how pretty my drop is and I'm late, right? I would say that there's nothing wrong with taking your time in the transition zone. Know that it is not a race getting up. It's a bigger matter of just being balanced, being organized, taking your sweet time. Obviously, if you've hit a great drop and you find out that like your opponents can't hurt you, you can come all the way up. But there's something to be said with just being athletic. Even if you pop the ball up, being athletic, staying back, playing good defense. Take a look at the Newmans. God, they do this so freaking well, and it's so deflating when you're on the other side and you've popped overhead after overhead and you've popped a fourth and popped a sixth and you're trying to push them back. All of a sudden they're able to get one ball down and then they're in. I'm not gonna lie. Over time, when you're on the returning side, it makes the court look so freaking small. So there is value behind just playing good defense and staying back and waiting for the right ball and over added time. It could cause a lot of pressure. It could force the returners to start being way too aggressive with their fourth and their sixth and their eighth, or maybe it could cause them to hit like a mediocre dump volley that you can run all the way up because they're sick of hitting overheads, right?
Well, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It doesn't matter if it takes you 10 shots to get there or 2 shots to get there. What matters is the percentage of the time that you're able to neutralize that advantage. So, yes, that's where we want to get, but we don't need to get frantic and feel like we have to have a perfect third shot drop every time. It was a big distinction for me when I started playing at the pro level. I realized it's not that they're hitting perfect third shot drops. It's they're hitting 3-4 decent drops and they're able to get all the way in. They're just not popping one up terribly. And if they do, they've got good enough defense to stay back and still stay alive in the point.
Yeah. So viewers out there, episode 14, we're going to spend about, 10 or 15 minutes answering questions. So once this video gets posted, feel free to leave a question in the comment area. Obviously, you can comment on the podcast or simply you could just leave a question. We will compile questions and use those for episode 14. But be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications, and make sure to get subscribed to the McGuffin Pickleball Club. Mr. McKenzie, any last notes here?
I think we were pretty thorough today. I'm excited. I'm excited for the questions next week. Don't feel like you guys have to hold back. We'll go there, if you know what I mean. So, any topic.
Yeah. want to thank my podcast man and YouTube creator and the guy who's done all my video work, Kevin over here. Has done a great job. He's got his kids over here as well, all hanging out. But my name is Tyson McGuffin. This is the McGuffin Show. Want to thank you guys. Have a good day.
My name is Adam from Cincinnati. I came out to San Antonio to the McGuffin Pickleball Camp. It's been outstanding. I've learned a lot about technique. Kyle and both Tyson did a great job really breaking down all the fundamentals of the game. And I like their format where they actually break it down to detailed instruction. And then you drill, and then you play. So fantastic camp. I would recommend highly that you go if you're looking to build foundational skills and fundamentals.
So I just finished a 2-day Tyson McGuffin camp in San Antonio, Texas at Chicken and Pickle, and we had a great time. We played our butts off. We did a lot of really good fundamental drills, learned a lot, had a lot of fun. It was very level specific. The instructors were the most enthusiastic instructors I've ever been around. You can tell they really love teaching. It doesn't matter what level you are, you're going to gain something from this camp. I highly recommend it and encourage you to sign up. He's teaching all over the place. Check out his website, check out his YouTube channel. Tyson's awesome.
Hi, I'm Diane Williams, and this was my very first pickleball camp. And I have to say, Tyson and Kyle were absolutely amazing. We got lots and lots of really practical instruction, breaking down the shots, the techniques. I'm a 4-0 player. My goal is to be 4-5, and I feel like with the tools I got over the 2-day camp, that's going to really help propel me to that next level. We did a lot of variety of things. It was always moving from one thing to the next. There was very little downtime. I got to meet different people, excellent players, and made new friends. All in all, it was a wonderful experience. I highly recommend it, and I hope to be able to come back and do another camp sometime soon.